Hello and welcome to Astro Design for You. I'm Lily, and today's topic is going to be very important because it's going to affect like a huge shock wave to the new awareness and judgment reconstruction for all humanity. I'm going to divide this video into 4 parts. So if you are interested to know how our world is going to change together with the effects on humanity and how to mitigate the negative effect, you are welcome to subscribe and don't forget to push the bell button to know when the next video is going to be uploaded. When I said shock waves, I meant the big meetings of the giants Jupiter and Saturn in 2024 and 2025. I will use in this interpretation the magnifying glass of human design and Gene Keys, and I will show you in depth the big changes of these two planets' interaction. What we are as a collective going to meet through these changes, how to mitigate the negative effects, and in-depth analysis of this transit, and more. Ephemeris and human design Gene Keys facts first. Also, this transit have negative effects, multiple challenges, and even limitation. Don't worry, because at the end of the tunnel, we've got light. After 3 negative meetings between Saturn and Jupiter, they meet at the end of 2025 to a very harmonious, flowing, and abundant aspect in the water signs between October and December. And it's gonna bring us healing and support that we will probably lack the first 3 meetings of these two planets. In this first video of this forecast series, I would like to explain a little bit about the forces that we are going to encounter. So first of all, Saturn. Who is Saturn? It is considered as a limiting and disciplined planet, the planet of lessons in karma, commitment, responsibility, depression, anxiety, and insecurity. It teaches about tolerance, self-discipline, willpower, and perseverance. And of course, what are limits? Everyone have their own limits. Saturn represents everything that is old, structural, and traditional. It also represents service to others and something that is fixed and inflexible, and even it can represent death. In the maps of countries, it represents democracy, mortality rates, the elderly, conservatism, and anything that causes public grief. Saturn teaches us that everything and everyone have limitation, and to every action there is going to be a consequence, a result. Its influence is often seen as a test to our resilience and commitment to our life's purpose. In mundane, Saturn also represents drilling, mining, refining, and even agriculture. Also the conformity to old and structured order. Who is Jupiter? The planet of abundance, joy, luck, wisdom, our inner laws and morals, expansion and growth. It governs our desires for adventure and higher learning, thus represents gurus and guides. It is associated with generosity and it's the signifier of children. In the mundane astrology, Jupiter represents advisors to the head of states, ministers, diplomats, judges, treasury, top political and administrative positions, teachings, law, financial institution, and advisory roles, even astrologers and management experts, administrators, business consulting, and financial services. What is the meaning of the square, which is the aspect that Jupiter is gonna meet Saturn 3 times in these upcoming 2 years? What is the meaning of square in astrology? Usually, this is an aspect of negative interaction between planets. It creates very dynamic and challenging energy that can manifest itself through frustration, lots of conflict, and resistance. But it can also stimulate personal growth and change as they force us to confront our weaknesses and limitations. The first negative encounter between Saturn and Jupiter is going to be between Pisces and Gemini signs. Saturn is going to reside Pisces, and it brings us some sort of reality check and structure to our spirituality, empathy, and our dream world. What we thought was truth is going to change. The roots of empathy that emphasize the difference between humans and robots or inhumane behavior are getting a cold shoulder and very harsh awakening from Saturn. While Jupiter in Gemini gives abundance in communication, ideas, and a very fast-moving mind that skips a lot of important steps and can sometimes get stuck on the unimportant side of life. It brings a lot of useless communication and need to share ideas, even if they are unworthy. Jupiter's home is in Sagittarius, which is opposed Gemini, and this is why this sign is not a good place for Jupiter. Gemini loves quickness, change, networking, and Jupiter can amplify that, but in a superficial way and without commitment or usefulness. What is the overall meaning of Saturn square Jupiter for the collective? Now that you know the meaning of the planets and their positions in the astrological signs, it's easy to see that there will be conflicts, challenges, and limitation between ideas, communication, socializing, and spirituality, and structuring our consciousness sphere. It's going to be a war of communication over our consciousness. In the more personal plan, it can lead to many addictions to overcome the material spiritual boundaries. Inability to communicate and get understanding. This period can make way to false gurus and mystical systems that will be revealed as false and as a scam by the end of 2025. There will be a lot of ideas that won't hold the test of time, frustration regarding limiting circumstances that will lead to uncertain future. Also, we are going to feel and to be in a state of confusion that is going to be based on so much misinformation, so much chatter and useless communication across the internet, in the news, frequency of misleading and wrong information that may cause many of us to retreat to our own minds or to find some strong mind outside of us that will falsely lead out of the misery by misusing others' resources. Back to the general and collective pen, this aspect can cause problems with agriculture and food distribution. Also, financial losses due to earthquakes or other challenging weather conditions. Communication problems and limitations on traveling and short road trips. Financial problems and job loss. Seeing and not believing the ugly truth that comes out of the gutter of the old structures and systems that were supposed to support and protect us. Well, this is what we thought about them anyway. We will be awakened to this harsh reality of the old structures that are going to fall apart. But before they die out completely, they would like to get a hold even much stronger because they feel that they are sleeping and they cannot hold the old structure anymore. So they would like to impose more limitation on population and on the resources, of the abundance of the resources. And as we all know, many people are addicted to the internet and the online communication, which will feel that there will be the abundance there, but it's going to be so misleading that many will fall to wrong ideas and belief systems and will try to use some mind-altering substance that will cause only addiction, dependability from old structure to something new that won't bring any kind of happiness. Also, we are going to see even more inhumane of the humane. For many of us, it's going to feel like a time of step forward and step back. Thus can create a hole where we stand today. Knowing, learning about this effect and how to apply its positive side will help us achieve benefits. For this, it is also important to know the laws of Jupiter and to follow them. And this we'll discuss in detail through the HD and gene key interpretation. In human design, it is very interesting to know that Jupiter represents our inner law, that when not followed is punished and limited by the energy key where Saturn is activated. Meaning that Jupiter is the judging system of our body, of our own mechanics, and Saturn is the executor. Having square between those energies is going to triple bad judgment because it will be harder to follow our laws, and thus the limitation we will receive from Saturn placement will be much more profound and felt on a personal level. But in this video, you're gonna get a very valuable knowledge of the very deep meaning placement of both of these planets that will help you to be aware of what needs to be followed to help to mitigate the adverse effects of their conflicting meeting and even ripe more fruits in the future. So stay tuned for this important information. As you've seen in the beginning of the video, I showed you that Saturn and Jupiter are going to meet the first time between the 22nd gate and the 45th. So what will be the limitations and punishment from Saturn activating the 22nd gate? This gate, as any other energies that we have in our map, has a duality in it. It can be the very social energy that there is, but the opposite is also true. It can be the most anti-social and disgraceful behavioral energy. And being activated by Saturn is going to emphasize its negative side, not its positive. It's going to create a lot of inappropriate timing for bringing some kind of change and influence on the society that will bring the wrong changes in the wrong time to the wrong people, and thus creating social problems based on shame, blame, disgrace, which will further differentiate the world's population and contribute to the feelings of separateness and loneliness. This gate is a very individual energy, and as such, it wants attention to its uniqueness. It's craving this attention. But the secret to getting it through this energy is through being attentive to others through active hearing. Saturn here is going to destroy this ability. So, as usually humans behave, the inability to really hear and get what others say will create collective disturbance. The limitation and punishment of Saturn will be inability to listen to one another, creating all kinds of emotional blockages and negative outlets. Don't you agree that emotions, feelings are the rulers of the world, of humanity? And the 22nd gate is based in our emotional system. When this system is overloaded with negative emotion, it can create all sorts of antisocial behaviors. And Saturn here wants us to learn to express our emotions with honesty, hard work, through the patterns of shame and blame games. This emotional limitation will be emphasized in two main ways in people. The first is going to show itself in the world as hypocritical patterns and trying to hide the true nature and feelings, and to behave, of course, according to what we feel is expected of us. But it all will be fake. It is a very turbulent and complicated emotional world with a high chance of exploding at any moment. Faking being kind to others while behind the scene backstab those others, it can be hard to rely upon the other. It can be very violent and explosive energy who will turn on their loved ones and others in a split of a second of low emotional outlet. The second option will be bringing to our lives a lot of incompetence. People who behave the opposite of what is expected of them. behavior and emotional expressions that are inappropriate for the situational person. Very antisocial behavior, but in the extreme of it. The people that will have this kind of outlet won't be able to control their emotional responses. Their actions and behaviors will be very destructive. But of course, more towards others than themselves without understanding the law of backlash. Their inability to deal with their passions and treat others with respect will destroy their private lives. And above all, these people will have an inability to listen, neither to others nor to themselves. They are doomed to mistake and misunderstandings. Thus, their passions destroy their lives and also the lives of the people that are close to them. Now, if you want to avoid or at least minimize as much as possible this horrible limitation on our most powerful motor in our life, which is our emotions, let's see what Jupiter has to offer us and how we should follow him in order to achieve what I said. So Jupiter in this period is going to activate the 45th gene key. This is the most important gate, energy key, in the tribal process because it is directly responsible for the tribe's resources for survival. This is a tribal energy that comes from the need to protect and support those who benefit the tribe. This is the energy that can attract money through business and be talented in managing resources. But it has a trick here too, and it is to be valuable to the tribe, valuable to other people, to those people who rely on you, who are close to you, okay? Not only to yourself, but how many people in the world are useful to others besides their own egoistical goals? Almost no one. Everyone is stuck on their own selfishness and needs. But Jupiter in this energy will demand from every one of us several points. First, every one of us should check the distribution of our and our family resources. Are they used in a helpful and collaborative way? Second, everything and anything each one of us is doing, it has to be beneficial for others, be it education or service. But if the only beneficiary is you, Saturn will get you. Third, support others in proper education that will help them, but not what you think will help them. Meaning the need to question the other, to understand what the other needs is going to be very, very amplified by this energy. Another point is having collective agreements in the close family for achieving mutual goals. Not deciding for others what goals they need, not dictatorship. Democracy, yes, the one that the world still haven't known in a close-up. Most people will be at the lowest energy effect in this gene key. and thus will get punishment by Saturn. So if you are not following the rules that I mentioned and will recognize yourself as one of the following groups that I will tell you about it, with the knowledge you have right now from this video, you have the choice to change before Saturn's karma is gonna bite. So the first group are going to behave as oppressed by the authoritarianism of others. These people will bow their heads to any kind of authority. They will allow others to suppress their own soul and spirit. And such behavior sacrifices its freedom for the sake of fake peace, because it is based on unconscious fear, such as person is convinced that by resisting any kind of authority, nothing good will come out of it. So people from this group are majority of the people in the world. They just do whatever they told without any question or without learning themselves or what is good for their own body, for the body of their children. They just go like a blind cows and blind horses to slaughter. The second group, they are the opposite, but they are very, very extreme in this opposite. They do not bow to any kind of authority, but they get into fights. This is the so-called awakened people that go to demonstration. They think that by demonstrating something extreme, it will help change something. No, it won't. But it's not only the people who fight and talk more and do less. These people are very obsessed to climb and to be at the top of the top to get some power, some authority upon other people. And they will just do anything to get it. And these show-off people, having achieved this power that they want so much, will behave like they must ensure that others remain introverted and controllable. This is a very arrogant people who want to bring others down by any means so that they can rule and have the highest authority possible. They are very bossy, full of control games, and will do anything to have the upper hand. Now that you are more aware of the energies at play, you have the power to use it in a more beneficial way. I truly believe that we are all one, and doing mischief to yourself or to others will backlash. Always. Later, I will publish another 3 videos regarding the upcoming changes through the Jupiter-Saturn meetings. So if you are interested in having a chance in living it with benefit, I invite you to subscribe and hit the bell button. Until the next time we meet, take care.